how was your pee break?
My pee break.
It might flash you on TikTok.
Random baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Messing around? But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave. Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday from mine to yours. Here at Talk to Me, Taylor on GNN, this fine and lovely programming for today. Okay, now that that's all done, guys, I'm raw dogging this episode like you have never seen. All right. Literally, here are my notes. We are just going to go for it. But David, I know that is what you want. And that is, what the people want. I'm not used to doing a daily live show. I'm not going to lie. I've been at this a long time. I've been around the block. I've had my show 5 years. You saw in the intro, all my red carpet reporting. I started that about a decade ago. But a daily live show is it's another ball game. It is another ball game. I'm not going to be a Karen and fight off a kid for the ball at said ball game. I'm committed to the cause, but not that committed. So all that to say, you are in it with me. We are just kind of on the fly and figuring this shit out together. And you know what? We wouldn't have it any other way. Howard Stern. Yeah, we're going to get to Howard in a little bit. Remember the Real World slogan? When are people going to stop being polite and start being real? It's meta, it's speaking to all the levels of this real, kind of doing this on the fly, pulling together stories for you in a little bit of a last minute manner, impromptu. So it doesn't get realer than that. You are looking at the assistant producer, the researcher, just right here behind this mic, right? And the nature too of what we are going to be talking about today, because here's the thing. I feel like we all want what's real. We're over the glossy facade, whether it's the fake Instagram influencer. I mean, hell, you even have Kylie Jenner coming out. The Kardashians are the most tight-lipped bitches on the planet. And you have them even seeing how over everybody is with the fake, to where Kylie Jenner is like, okay, so here is the exact implant I got, the size, the date, the time, the latitude, longitude of when I got my breast implants. You're like, whoa, holy shit. This is coming from the girl whose lips went from microscopic to a circus clown. I mean, that not in an insulting the best way possible, and tried to insult our intelligence and tell us, no, I never did anything. I'm so against all of that. So, right, everybody's catching on to that we're not idiots and that we want what's real. I've been advocating for this for a long time. However, here's kind of the catch, is that when people do get a little too real, there seems to be a backlash. It's like, do we want to stop being polite and start being real? Okay. Then if you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen, because I actually find it so amusing, so entertaining. And that's the thing. It's like, if we're going to ask for what's real, like me pulling this ass out of my show all of 36 minutes ago, then you got to take what that comes with. And here's a great example. Okay. Listen, guys, I'm proud of my Italian heritage. My mom, she's an off the boat Italiana, so I'm 50%, I may not look it, but I am. And I don't really know. There's an Italian reporter interviewing celebrities going viral right now. And I don't know. I'm like, does she speak for us Italian women? I really don't even know how to feel about this whole thing. Is she doing us proud? Is she doing us dirty? I'll tell you this, it is awkward and it is so entertaining. Okay, if you haven't seen this viral clip, And again, many of you, like my OGs, are super into the pop culture news. And those of you who are like riding or dying for GNN, you guys are more perhaps like crypto, finance, all this. But like all my stories, I'm not going to get into the weeds. It's not like celebrity tabloid gossip fodder. There's always a bigger point about our culture. Maybe it's cancel culture, free speech, whatever it is, wokeism, conservatism. And this is one of those stories. So you have this Italian reporter with her accent, with the whole thing. She is interviewing Andrew Garfield, Julia Roberts, and an actress from The Bear, a Black actress. Her name is, if I butcher this, my bad, Io Adibri. And so so awkward. I truly can't. The interviewer points this question in her Italian accent. She points this question to Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts, the two white people in the room. And she literally just is giving zero negative fucks to be detected. And she's like, okay, so now that Black Lives Matter and Me Too is over, and all the political correctness, what is Hollywood going to look like now? Like, first of all, so awkward. I'm like, is this a language barrier thing? Again, is this just like an Italian thing about we just really don't give any fucks? I don't even know what to make of it. And it makes you think, why is she directing this at Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts? Is it because here I'm going to give my Italian sister from another mister the benefit of the doubt here. Is it because the other actress is sort of new on the scene and Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts are more like Hollywood vets, right? Because she's asking about these movements and especially asking about like, I could understand like not wanting the Black girl to answer about BLM, but the Me Too thing, why would she ask Julia Roberts that? Julia Roberts is a woman, right? For all intents and purposes, love Julia Roberts, but well, her movies at least. Not sure about her politics. So that I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. I'm going, she's not isolating this girl because she's a Black woman. Maybe it is just because those two, again, have been around the block longer in Hollywood. Wow. This is just so classic, quintessential Hollywood. And I saw it from the inside and I was calling out this machine, all the fakeness, all the virtue signaling, the lip service, the messaging from the inside. I was in this very reporter, God bless her. I was in her very seat this many of times. Okay. So what all par for the course, exactly as expected, what happens, but Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts have this knee jerk, like, no, like what these movements haven't gone anywhere because what else are they going to do? Like they are in line like robots in this Hollywood machine because if they do and no matter how fake it is, who knows how they actually feel in real life, but you bet your bottom dollar that they are going to be riding the movement of this horse like a mechanical bull down here in downtown Nashville, like they are at a bachelorette party of the ages, because that is what they are expected to do. And who gives a shit about all the people in the room, their entourage, their publicists, the movie studio, whatever. Again, same thing. They may deeply disagree with these movements, how stupid the PC culture is, what this Italian reporter was kind of getting at, but they are going to put their best acting faces on and act like they're going to die on these hills, guys, that these movements are the most important things ever. And that because we are Hollywood and that is what we do, right? Like being so out of touch with the every person. Again, no matter how fake it feels to them. So I thought it was hilarious that Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts immediately like to get all like this knee jerk, like up and out, like sit up and they're like, oh, no. They have, to defend it. But you have the Black actress who inserts herself and she's like, and I give her credit for just being honest, but it's just the whole thing is so awkward. She's like, I know that this question probably wasn't directed at me, but she goes on this whole thing. I don't think these movements have gone anywhere. However, people are really doing their part to make a difference. Maybe they won't include as many hashtags, this, that, the other thing, but they're still here and they're still going strong. And Andrew Garfield and Julia Roberts are just literally bewildered, verklempt, and just trying to save face in any which way, like just literally trying to take any SpaceX ship immediately the fuck out of this situation because how it could make them look. Again, they have to ride or die for the Hollywood cause if it is the last thing they do. But of course, I mean, I can't believe we're still doing this. We're still playing this game. I'm wearing my Cancel Me Baby shirt, which my show is called about 5-ish years ago. Sort of before everybody, I was calling out how ridiculous and absurd cancel culture was and canceling people, comics, people who had unpopular opinions about vaccines, literally whatever it was. Now, suddenly 5 years later, it's the cool thing to do, right? You have mainstream personalities being like, oh, that's so silly. And I'm like, where the fuck were you guys 5 years ago? You're late to the party, like way late. You're like that decomposing body in that singer's Tesla in New York, whatever happened. Like, where too soon? No. Where have you been? But we're seeing again, I don't know if these people do not get tired, the cancel culture people. They are like marathon, they are doing the Iron Man. They are to in it to win it, coming after this reporter and just completely again crucifying her, all par for the course. Like how immoral, how wrong, da da da. I don't have to go through it. We've seen this for 5 years. We know so much so to where the reporter was like, I am getting personal representation in the court of law because I am scared for my life. I'm being torn down and threatened and accused in the public court of opinion, as if these people don't have anything better to do. When yes, it's awkward, but again, this is a society that wants what's real and authentic. And I feel like this little slip up is something that could easily happen in real life. So either we publicly go after this girl like she's goddamn Hester Prynne, like the second coming, or we can just laugh at how awkward this entire thing was and be like, you know what? People are allowed to slip up, make mistakes. If this even was one, who knows where she was coming at? Again, maybe it was she was directing it at these two for that very reason. I don't know. If you guys know the story, let me know what you think in the comments. But why can't we just accept? Like, again, I feel like we're past the cancel culture stage of actually doing the witch hunt. It's like, sweetheart, that really didn't get us anywhere. Now, can we actually get in the phase of laughing at it? But no, because there is truly no chill to be found ever. And here's where, again, media, the machine, Hollywood, even the actors themselves, like everyone just gets themselves in a big old bind because again, being ahead of the time, shit is getting tiring. Being ahead of the time. I was calling this out on the red carpet in 2018. And here's where they kind of want it both ways because they want to be asked things that are more substantive, which again, I don't really know who's paying attention other than us here on the stream, but who cares as much, right? Celebrities and their input and even these movie promo trails, they don't carry nearly as much weight as they used to. But they want to be asked more significant questions. And then when they are in the same breath, it's kind of stuff like this. Granted, this was a foot in the mouth. I don't even know what happened, like train wreck, car crash. But then they get upset when you do. So 2 examples of this, right, where it could go both ways. I interviewed Nico Santa. I have to look it up. Oh my God, it's slipping my brain right now. This is the nature of live. It comes in, it comes out. It's like Ferris Bueller. It moves pretty fast. If you don't catch it, you might miss it. Same thing with my brain cells. Nico Santa, something like that. Okay, he's an Asian actor. He was in Superstore, and he was huge in Crazy Rich Asians. So I asked him about this on the red carpet at a big award show. I think it was a Critics' Choice. I was like, listen, my dude, what is the deal? Because actors, they want to be asked more. Remember, there was like also that her whole campaign, it was like Ask Her More, where celebrity women were like, ask us more than our shoes and makeup. And it's like, bitch, if we ask so much as like what you did last Saturday or your thoughts on anything remotely interesting, you have a conniption and call your entire entourage and go into an abyss. So what are we talking about? Like, pick one. So I asked him about it and he was like, yeah, it is. It does. It gets really boring because even as a reporter, you're put in this box of like, you have to ask this. And then you won't. Can I tell you how many taps and more, how many spankings I got theoretically on this bootay and slaps on the wrist for, God forbid, stepping outside the box and asking something real and actually interesting. So it's just safer all around when you do the whole song and dance of what they're expecting. But they're bored. I'm bored. Everybody's bored. It's a small world after all. Nobody's winning. So I asked him this. I said, Okay, I'm getting a call right now. Hang on one second. Hi, I'm on my live show. Actually, it's Rob Nelson. This is perfect. Rob, care to say anything as you interrupt my live show? Yep, he just hung up. Well, there you have it all. There you have it, guys. Men right there. Clean up the mess you started, fellas. Anyways, I asked him about this, and he acknowledged, yes, it gets really boring when we're asked the same thing over and over. So I was like, all right, let's spice it up and see how much you want to walk the walk, put your money where your mouth is. I was like, all right, what's your favorite sex position? And he's like, missionary. So there you go. He had fun with it. I think the Holy Ghost took over his body after realizing he had said that on a public red carpet, but how liberating and freeing for him in the moment. And I think he's gay, so I don't know how the missionary thing works for gay guys, but either way, what a moment, again, even if he did see his future in Hollywood life, PR circus flash before his eyes, which nothing ended up coming of it. But there you go. A moment, a little morsel in time of realness and how people just want this. They just want, like, call it Mount Etna. They just want to be let out. They just want it to be exposed. Now, on the other side of that, again, this is when it is like, I do understand where celebrities are like, what? Like when they're trying too hard and pushing these causes, so to speak. So I was on set of the Wonder Woman 84 shoot over in London, interviewing Chris Pine, Gal Gadot, Pedro Pascal, which, can I just say, I've interviewed him. I interviewed him on the set, literally like clothesline, stiff-armed him to get my question in, and while he was in between takes and character, the whole thing. I don't get the Pedro Pascal hype. Can I just say, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I don't know her. I don't get it. Maybe one of you guys can explain it to me. Either way, I don't get it. But there was a report, and mind you, with these set visits, it is months and months and months before the movie comes out. You are embargoed. You are signing NDAs up the wazoo. It's like they will literally take your sperm, your eggs, your firstborn, your blood, your house, your belongings. Like they will repossess your car. If you say so much as like one thing you witnessed, it could be a blueberry muffin on the craft services. Like if you witness or you talk about anything you saw on set right before the big movie push. So all that to say, it's way, way, way before the movie actually comes out. And we're sitting there with Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. And this reporter has the audacity to ask Gal Gadot about something with her Wonder Woman character and what it means for Me Too. And even Gal Gadot was like, bitch, what? Like she was super polite about it, but she was looking at her literally perplexed. Like, what does this literally have to do with anything? As were all of we were looking at her like, what a boner killer. Like, we're having fun. We're talking about this movie. Like, how audacious to bring up Me Too, which has nothing to do with anything. And I don't blame Gal Gadot for being like, well, this isn't that sending that message, and this isn't our hill to die on. And inside, she's probably like, inside that fine Israeli ass, what, not to objectify Gal Gadot, but I just did, but very intelligent, beautiful lady. She's probably like, what the fuck? Like, why? And so that's a time when I can understand. It's like, just knock it off. But it also goes into this whole thing of like, just be real. Like, stop being try hard. Just be real, be honest. And I think that includes, to go back to this viral moment we're seeing right now, just own the absurdity and the awkwardness of it all. Like, what did she actually mean? What were her intentions? What was going on in her head? And how can it be understandable, to some of us? But no, God forbid, if you ask any person with Tourette's with their thumbs on the internet, they'll lose their mind and they're going after this lady, like probably sleeping in her bushes. I don't even know. So you know what? Lawyer up. Italian report. I don't even know her name. Next up is Tom Cruise, who gave Glenn Powell allegedly some advice kind of pertaining to all this on the set of Top Gun Maverick. Glenn Powell is a huge Hollywood actor right now, super hot for you ladies, for you gays, and is actually very talented and funny, and obviously was in Top Gun with Tom Cruise. And he said in a recent, I think it was like a GQ spread, that Tom Cruise gave him the advice of just basically turn down the noise. The funny part about this, with critics and people piping in and the whole thing, the funny thing about this is Glenn Powell makes it seem like it pertains to a romance triangle. Maybe it was Sydney Sweeney and his girlfriend or something at the time, all these allegations of, who's he with, da-da-da-da-da. And so I don't know if you guys know this. Again, we have to throw in the alleged. I feel like we should get a stamp on this live stream when every time it's an alleged so our asses don't get sued. But I feel like it's the longest running best kept secret in Hollywood that Tom Cruise is actually gay. Like the stuff that Katie Holmes must know, I can't even imagine. Like, you want to talk about the Epstein list? I'm not calling Tom Cruise a pedophile. I'm just saying, like, the list of shit that Katie Holmes must know. Maybe one day it will be unearthed because I can't even imagine. But how funny that if that is the case, that he would be guiding Glenn Powell when it comes to like navigating the ladies. But Tom Cruise is onto something, obviously. As is hot take, and don't come for me, Scientologists, please, for the love of God, with your pamphlets like the fucking Jehovah's Witness, okay, on my doorstep. I left Hollywood. I'm not there anymore. Don't look for me or come for me. But maybe Scientology is onto something because look, Tom Cruise, as much criticism, you can love him or hate him, it is so hard to argue that he is cemented in our culture as such a goddamn badass and icon. The man's in his 60s and was like hanging from a helicopter by a pinky, doing backflips, riding off of cliffs with a motorcycle in this latest Mission Impossible, doing all of his own stunts. So are we even joking? And it actually is, like, we can make fun of him again all we want, but it is so badass and inspiring. That, talk about a press run. I was like, holy shit, I'm just going to go out and be Godzilla and fucking take out skyscrapers for all I care. Like, it was so badass. And it was really his whole message of putting your mind to something and actually doing it. Cause it really is the unthinkable. Like, anyone else would have a stunt guy, this, that. And the fact that he did it was insane. So I feel like what he has accomplished as such a significant person in culture, in Hollywood and entertainment and media, and like I said, really like kind of immortalized and cemented in culture in that, and being so successful and accomplishing so much is something to be revered. And I feel like he has been through, the Oprah jumping on the couch, the Katie Holmes, the gay rumors, this, that, and it still achieves such success. That is really interesting that he would say, just turn down the noise, and how easier said than done. So much easier said than done. Someone said to me today, and this woman, she has been a media coach she's coached like some of the top media personalities I'm talking like all the way back before Matt Lauer was canceled. You want to talk about Me Too cancellations? I think even Tom Brady, right? Like, really coaching some of the most high profile, influential people. And she was today we were talking about how everyone has something to say about everything. It could be, she said to me, you could see blueberries on your feed, and then we'll see a whole string of reels like, I don't like blueberries. Why would I eat blueberries? Why would I make a blueberry pie? It's like, bitch, nobody asked you, Betty Crocker. Nobody asked you to make a blueberry pie today. Like, just keep going, keep scrolling, keep moving. Why do you care? And it is entitlement culture at its finest. Like, Sally, nobody cares how you feel about blueberries. Nobody cares how you feel about raspberries. Guess what? You're at Publix. Keep on going in the aisle. You don't have to buy them, lady. But it's this incessant need to chime in on everything. And that's why, and it can really get to you. So that's why I give Tom Cruise, as complex and mysterious as his sex life may be, that's where he really is onto something, and where it is easier said than done. And listen, Tom Cruise may be a lot of things, but when it comes to shit like that, and again, for being such an OG and being such a badass in that regard, and a vet, and being under public scrutiny, and like I said, doing back flips and cars and all kinds of shit on movie sets, I'm gonna listen to him. Which brings me to Ryan Reynolds. This story, I don't even know. There's some stories that I'm like, why is this even a story? But when you talk about or think about you turning down the noise and hearing the critics and hearing the haters, again, another controversial one, especially after the whole Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni dysfunction, and where Ryan Reynolds played a part in it, and all that aside, right? Because I got my sneaky suspicions about that shit. But there was a story about how Ryan Reynolds was on a movie set, and I guess this other person was more of like a conservative MAGA right-leaning person. And for shits and giggles, Ryan Reynolds was like, let's switch phones and look at each other's algorithms and just compare, kind of in on and acknowledging how algorithms are their own circle jerk to our confirmation bias, to what we want to see. And I think that, it kind of is like the first story. Like, okay, it's real. Let's own it. Again, it's awkward. We know it's out there. We're not, guys, come on. Don't let this blonde take over. We can't all be playing dumb blondes here. We know what the algorithm is doing. We know that it's politicized. We know it gets people emotionally charged and fired up. Why are we going to pretend? Stop being polite and start being real. I see Deborah being real on Facebook. I see George being real on Twitter with their beliefs here. That why are we going to act otherwise? Like, let's cut the shit. We all know what's going on. So I think it's interesting to be like, we're not going to play stupid and play dumb. Like, oh, what? It's toying with us? No, it's like, let's show and tell. Let's see the difference in the algorithms. And the reason this became a story is because Ryan Reynolds was defending it. Like, again, why is this a story? Why is he defending it? This is just common sense, something that we all have the wherewithal to know and should be doing. But also defending, I'm not by any means a MAGA right-leaning extreme in that way. Again, just on this Hollywood merry-go-round of like the group think. It's just so tired. It's like, y'all, you guys are sending me into a geriatric home early. I am tired and old from all of this. Who cares? Who cares? So the fact that he even has to defend, like, no, but I'm not MAGA. I'm not a thing. And I get it. It's because the left is so hostile and angry and crotchety and has their panties so far up their buttholes, like so in a wad and uptight. But again, stop being polite and start being real. Who cares? Why is this a story? And Ryan Reynolds should be like, you know what? You guys all could benefit from doing this, actually. So common sense has left the building. Okay, last little bits here before we wrap on this merry-go-round on a Tuesday. Don't even know what's happening. Don't know where we're going. We don't need roads, but we do need this microphone. Okay. Andy Cohen and Howard Stern, this whole little stint they pulled. So, you talk about being real, and I get it. We're an evolving, we're going to get philosophical. Like, we're an evolving society. And Howard Stern may have evolved so hard that he's evolved out of the revolving door that is Sirius XM. I don't know. These rumors have been going on that the show isn't performing and that he's getting the boot. And it's been this whole he said, she said. I think the CEO of Sirius stepped in at one point. Like, no one knows what the fuck is going on, right? So it's been, speculated that Howard Stern is leaving his show. And Howard Stern, obviously OG, like radio vet, shock jock in his old days. Well, now he's in his old age. I don't know that it's holding up. We shall see. And so Andy Cohen, who you guys may know, he's like the face of Bravo and the Housewives and all this, pulled a quote prank. April Fools came early or late. I actually think neither, because this really wasn't funny. Being in Howard's seat and saying, I know you're all looking for Howard, but I'm taking over his show. It's me, Andy, hardy har har. And then Howard Stern came in with Robin and clarified, like, no, we're just joking. And, I'm not going anywhere. And I wanted to retire, but now I can't because I have a point to prove. And by the way, I had other companies reach out to me saying, we'll scoop you if Sirius believes you and da-da-da. Okay. Howard Stern is somebody who I actually really kind of revered and looked up to pursuing this path. Funny enough, even when I describe David Gokhshtein, who owns this network, I always tell people he almost has that like old school Howard Stern rough around the edges, right? Again, stop being polite and start being real. We want that. Howard Stern, old school Howard Stern, was neither polite. He was not polite, but he was real. He was stop being polite and start being real. I saw this resurface. It takes a lot to make me feel a little something. I saw this resurface clip, okay? I shit you not, where he was doing, it was like a beauty pageant in reverse, where he had these girls. It was like the Butterface competition. I'm not even kidding. On a stage with a studio, whole audience. Like, you would think that this was American Idol for humiliation and abuse. And these girls would have these really hot bodies with literal paper bags over their heads, and they would take the paper bags off of their heads, and the audience, men, women, they would react like, like literally as if it were Frankenstein. Okay. And Howard would chime in like, oh God, what a hideous face. I swear to God, this shit is not AI. You would think it was. Like, this is humiliation porn. I mean, that shit is to be psychoanalyzed at another day. But you talk about from that to where he is now, like playing patty cake with all of these celebrities. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a part of me, and I've asked this often, like, is Howard Stern, is it like the Alex Cooper call her daddy thing? Like, are they just the most genius ever? And they knew exactly what they were doing with the raunchy, explicit, over the top, inappropriate sex talk, whereas now they can do whatever they want to do. But I truly wouldn't be surprised. And yes, I'm not going to knock Howard Stern. I mean, his politics are ass, but I'm not going to knock him for having a really good way of getting in the celebrity psyche. And he's also a vet. He can do whatever he wants. So he gets them to open up and tell their stories. But it makes me wonder, and I've always thought this, like, there is just that part of the old school shock jock. Maybe it was never who he really was. Maybe it was just genius business and marketing. Again, the IG model OnlyFans before its time. But I really miss some of that. I really, really miss some of that. And again, maybe he just evolved and this was always the person he was and yada, yada. But I really think if some of that were still intact, maybe his base would be not so old and would be a little more. I don't know. I know his stance on, he's gone so left. He's gone so opposite of, what he used to be. I mean, he would be like the FCC's biggest nightmare. They were like on his ass all the time. And now it's like kind of goody two shoes. So I want some of that. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if it's so much that your audience is growing up, you've grown up, but again, it is a little bit out of touch with like, give the people what they want. And, in a world of Howard Stern's, be the awkward Italian reporter. The very last story I have before we're out of time here is, and it's funny. It goes in tandem with the Howard Stern thing when it pertains to ego and like everything being about us. Again, it could be about the blueberries. Wow, that's giving like T-Pain. Blueberries. The blueberries. It could be chiming in on pop, whatever it is. It's like we are literally incapable of not being the biggest narcissist and everything about ourselves. Kind of like, the Ryan Reynolds story. Rob, actually, who just called promptly in the middle of my live stream here. I don't think he's live tonight, but he's live tomorrow. Don't worry, Rob. I will get your ass back. Said to me, I don't even think it's a matter of extreme left versus right anymore. Like woke and holier than thou conservatives stick up their butts. It's more just like everybody's so unhinged and deep rooted in what they think that they are truly like if they so much as hear as one sentence of something they disagree with, they will walk themselves straight off of the cliff that Tom Cruise did his stunt, rode his motorcycle off of, like on purpose. Okay. Willingly just meet their demise and their end because they cannot. So everything just being about ourselves. But Candace Owens, okay, so she resurfaced with season 2 of becoming the Brigitte Macron whole thing. And I watched it this morning. It literally is a whole rabbit hole. You are Alice. This is the rabbit hole. Off it goes. You're in I don't even know, it's some dysfunctional, crazy ass wonderland that it's all just such mental gymnastics, but I'm also fascinated by it. I fucking love it. I'm like, this shit is so interesting. And I'm not even like a whodunit, true, whatever kind of person, but I think she is. And as unhinged as Candace herself has become, it gets at transparency, at power, all the layers, again, all the twists and turns and the gaslighting. They make you think they're crazy. There's so much convoluted, even what we're seeing right now with the Epstein stuff, that it's like you don't even know what to believe anymore. So that part of it to me is really fascinating. And the idea of like, how could they get away with this for so long? Like the powers that be and how we don't even really know what goes on, right? And what they're capable of. So that whole part and peeling all of that back, again, being real and stop being polite, even if it's about Brigitte Macron's alleged dong, to what's really there and what is under the pants, so to speak, when you unzip them and you see what's really there. But the thing, it's similar, it's so obnoxious, but it's also sort of entertaining. It almost makes me like feel bad for them in a way of how both Howard Stern and Candace Owens made both of these things about them. Howard Stern being like, why did you have to make a point? It's not a flex. Being like, well, other companies wanted me and they said I'm still really important. They'll scoop me up. So watch out, Sirius. It's like, is you making a point about it a flex? Like, is you just clarifying, like, guys, no, don't worry. People still want me. I wanted to retire, but they'll bring my sorry ass out of retirement. It's like, it's just the ego is going to ego. Candace Owens, same thing. On the heels of promoting this series she does, it's just so egotistical. It honestly gives Trump a run for his money. How she's writing things like, I broke France. I broke all of France. And, I think that, and she'll say it in the show, I think that they see what I'm saying and they're scrambling. And so not just Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron, no, but the whole country is revolved around one Candace Owens. Like, I'm just going to pat myself on the back and take responsibility for just little old me, guys. And not to knock the investigative work, but again, it's like, could you be stroking yourself to yourself any harder? So when it comes to, again, stop being polite and start being real, I don't know. I guess that is real. It's a little too real. It is their ego and what they think. It's a little too real for me because it's like when it becomes all about you, again, your beliefs, just the world. I'm sorry, it's your world and we're just living in it. Like, my bad. It's just not a flex. So I'm here for the human. I'm here for the honest. But when you make it just, again, your show, your whole thing, this, that, I'm tuning out. So tune in. I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 p.m. on Hump Day. And can't wait. It's going to be a good one, as always. See you then.
Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you undetected.
Random, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
And I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Around?
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor.